So Fallout 76 got a new update. This will probably take the record as the largest or one of the largest updates. It's either this or the December 11th patch. Not really due to its sheer size, it's going to be around 4 gigabytes on consoles and 500 megabytes on PC, but by the amount of bugs it actually fixes. Bethesda reported having roughly 150 bug fixes. If you actually read through the patch notes, there's not 150 things listed unless they count like the fact that fixing this thing affects 3 quests, so that's 3 separate bug fixes. But either way, the takeaway is it's a big one. In this video, what I want to go over are some of the balance changes, then some of the bug fixes, but also some other things, some of the bugs that were kind of introduced with this update and some of the bugs that weren't fixed with this update and what that really means going forward. Also, of course, with all of these updates, we get a little bit of a look at some of the file updates, so I will touch on that somewhat. So starting things off, one of the oddities with this update is it's out right now on PC. It seems like this was somewhat, at least, of a last-minute decision by Bethesda. Yesterday, they posted their Inside the Vault article, and originally when that came out, and even when I made my video on it, they didn't say the update would be today. But then later in the day, they did update that article by saying it would be today on PC, and it'll be coming sometime next week on consoles. The main reason for this being that on PC, they could push minor changes more quickly, so fix bugs that do get released with this update. While on consoles, there's more of a review process, and it's a lot more deliberate. So a couple of the balance changes we got are things like bobby pins actually weighing quite a bit less. Previously they weighed 0.1 weight, now they weigh 0.001 weight. So depending on how many bobby pins you actually had, this could kind of be a significant difference, saving me roughly 6 pounds in carry weight. Even beyond that, we got a buff to the power armor light, now it's brighter in case you wanted that, but also we got a change to the glowing ones. But with this comes a new feature in patch notes, that with dev notes. This is something I actually asked for in a past video, and then Bethesda came out saying they are going to be doing it in 2019, and it's lovely, although it could use some refinement. So the actual balance change is that glowing ones will no longer grant erroneous large amounts of XP, with the dev note to go along with that saying glowing ones were granting large boss XP rewards, making them highly exploitable when combined with nuke zones. The most notable area of this is the White Springs. Using the White Springs, you would get a plethora of glowing ones, and they would give a lot of XP. Even at high levels, you could gain 3 if not more levels just by clearing this out, and thus it became one of the best places to actually launch a nuke if you wanted to level up. So it seems like what we actually are getting here is a nerf to that, at least somewhat, and although I really do like this change, I think it's an important one. In the future, I would love to just get some concrete numbers. How much less experience are glowing ones going to give now? I actually found one of my old clips of killing one where I got 357 experience, and in my newest clip after this update, I only got 228, so roughly a 35% or truly a 36% decrease in how much experience you get from glowing ones, and specifically these are bloated glowing ones. This is definitely after a long stream of other patches to nerf certain experience gaining methods in Fallout 76. Many players think it's to make the game have more longevity, especially in the early stages when it first came out. You could level up really quickly. And again, even though I asked for these dev notes, I'm really happy they're adding them on the patch notes. A lot of the implementations on these first patch notes could be improved. They only actually use it 4 times, but some of the other ones is like daily challenges. Fix several daily challenges that are now being offered on some days. Then the dev note is simply saying which daily challenges. Like, shouldn't that just be included with the patch notes? Or this one that's a real gem in my eyes, Scorched. Fix an issue where Wasteland Whisperer could not affect Scorched. Dev note, Wasteland Whisperer can no longer be used to pacify Scorched. Again, I'm really happy these are included now. I just feel like maybe if they were a bit more opinionated, like why us at the balance team think these are good changes, would be better. We have a few things that were labeled as bug fixes, but I really think they're balance changes. Such as now you can no longer die repeatedly to remove all of your radiation. You'll no longer completely remove it if you just continue to die. Again, it's labeled as a bug fix. Maybe that was the original intention, but we also have one. The overall repair costs have been lowered for both weapons and armors, with another entry saying component quantities required to repair mid to high level armor and weapons have been reduced up to 20%, with the dev note adding that repair costs scale with level now, and there's room to reduce costs at higher levels. So this is definitely a polarizing one. On one hand, if you're a mid-level, this is going to be really awesome for you. But if you are one of those players that is level, let's say 170, this could be a kind of a problem. I don't know the exact numbers, but it can be the case where now it's actually more expensive for you to repair things than compared to previously. Do you guys remember back to December 4th? That was a day when we got patch notes that were kind of missing a bunch of things. There was a bunch of hidden changes to workshops that people were finding through practice but weren't included in the patch notes, and people got pissed. Well, one of the changes we saw with that was that fusion core generators at workshops workshops were reduced to 0.8 per hour. At the time, a lot of people speculated that was an accident, it was meant to be 8. Well, fortunately, a little over 1 month later, they were right. It actually was supposed to be 8, and that was updated in this patch. So now if you actually take over a workshop and you do one of the fusion core generators, it will give you 8 fusion cores per hour. As far as the bug fixes go, as with every patch, we got some improvements to performance and stability. One of the big ones is they actually fixed an issue where items can be duplicated. As I mentioned in some previous videos, when the last time they patched the dupe glitch, it only took like 48 hours for another one to pop up. So I'm eager to see A, if one actually does. Hopefully there simply aren't anymore, or nobody has found one. But then also B, I want to see how quickly Bethesda patches the next one. The lever action rifle now correctly reloads how many ammo are missing. So if you fire once, you're only going to reload 1 bullet. This is a really great change. Too bad it can't get backported to Fallout 4. And it makes what I would say one of the most interesting weapons just a lot more usable. The legendary hunting rifle was finally added to the legendary drop list. If you guys don't know, there simply wasn't legendary hunting rifles. It's like they forgot to add that in. Fortunately, that has now been rectified, although there are a few select weapons that still don't spawn there, like flare guns, chainsaws apparently. I'm actually pretty interested to see how much the first legendary hunting rifles will sell for as they make their way onto the market. There's always that glitch where if you fast traveled somewhere, you might like spawn in a rock and then slowly exit the rock. Well, they actually addressed this in a bug fix, but it seems like it came with certain unintended consequences. Somebody on Reddit posted about how now if you actually try and take the elevator to the top of the monorail elevator, you can't. You'll just kind of be spawned back at the bottom. This seemingly having something to do with that change in how it actually works as you load into new locations. And I think this is a really good example as to why Bethesda put this patch on PC early. So hypothetically now, going forward, this will be patched in the next day on PC as long as it's a fairly easy change, but then never actually appear on consoles, where hotfixing it would take quite a bit longer, so it would plague the game for longer. While scrapping all of your junk, like as you do when you go to a workbench, you're no longer going to accidentally scrap hard en masse. They finally fixed that bug that was probably here since release, where after killing a Scorched, they would have like a disassembled gun in their hand. I remember pointing that out as an example multiple times in videos saying this is something that's been here since release and still not patched. Thankfully, that is no longer a thing. The Gauss rifle is now correctly identified as a rifle, so perk cards will affect it appropriately, as well as the M79 grenade launcher is now an explosive weapon, not just being a shotgun. And those are some of the most notable changes. Again, there's a ton of other bug fixes, some of them PC exclusives, some of them Xbox exclusives, and it feels like with this patch and the December 11th one, it really took out a big chunk of the bugs. Earlier in December and late November, I was pretty critical of Bethesda at their patch rate, saying that with how many bugs they're fixing per patch right now, it's going to take them months to actually get the game in a bug-free state. Unfortunately, they actually increased that rate quite considerably, and now we're not quite bug-free. There's definitely a few issues with the game still, but it's pretty damn close. I'd say it's almost release-worthy at this point. This all occurring right before the new DLC is here, so I think that's a great addition to this game. Although one rather large travesty that did come with this update, they removed the glitch when exiting power armor, your body would be misshapen. So no more of this, and honestly, I think we all should have a moment of silence for the loss of that amazing feature. With that being said, there's still several things that I feel like didn't get addressed that kind of should have been addressed with this update. When you take out laser or plasma Gatling weapons, there's still that glitch where your present ammo count will be however many cores you have for that weapon. But even beyond that, I think these two weapon categories in general need to be looked at. They simply break way too fast, as well as their damage is very low, making it so while you play the game, you'll pretty much never see another player using them because they're so freaking bad. In this update, the Gatling laser was technically patched, but it's such a small thing to just one of the mods that I think it needs a more fundamental patch, and I'm honestly surprised they didn't address some of the other issues considering they did that one. We also still have the auto scrapping while scrapping other things of weapon mods or armor mods. We haven't heard anything more about the stash limit, even though the last time they increased it, they said they may increase it further. Does that mean we're not getting a further increase, or they just figured it'd shut everyone up? And even some of the weight reducing perks still affect different things differently, and I'm not really sure if that's intended or just an accident. Are some of the rad options not meant to be included? Speaking of, I'm not sure when this was changed, but the description of Radaway is now listed as just reducing disease resistance. On the internal description, it also increases thirst and hunger. Again, I don't know if this is just a new thing that was posted now or it's been there for a while, but all in all, I would say this is a pretty good update. Again, it's one of the biggest. I would say it's an update that brings the game to a fairly bug-free state, assuming no other massive bugs pop up with this, or at least the ones we do have get patched. I'm really going to be looking out to see how Bethesda addresses dupers going forward. Let's say another duping exploit pops up in the next 48 hours, how quick is their response to it? With this, we also got some new additions to the Atomic Shop. This again was posted by somebody on Reddit. I'll have a link to that down below, but basically it looks kind of cool. The Pip-Boy actually has a pretty nice design going on with it, and this Power Armor paint job I might just buy for the meme potential. It just looks hilariously bad almost. But as I mentioned throughout this video, I think this is a really good update. Bethesda getting their game into a relatively bug-free state, relatively being the keyword there, and honestly the state it should have probably been 2 months ago when it came out. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks we do get some more details about the DLC. But yeah, with that, I hope you guys all enjoyed. I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.